South Africa's first female tax ombud celebrated her birthday on a drive to promote taxpayers' rights at the University of Johannesburg. Yanga Mputa was appointed in July and says her office has had to double its efforts this tax season to position itself as an efficient, independent, impartial and fair redress channel for taxpayers.
Those Bill of Rights include others like rights of access to information, entitlement to receive quality and timely service from SARS. That is, if Mr. Franz Tomasek is not answering you in time, you are entitled to that. Right to a fair, unbiased and just tax system. Entitlement to paying no more than the current amount of tax due to SARS. Right to dispute or challenge assessments or decision. On the other hand, taxpayers have the following obligations: duty to work to the best of their ability and competence and to pay taxes imposed by law. Responsibility to familiarize themselves with their obligations, and if uncertain about any aspect or if their tax affairs are complex, seek appropriate advice.
She used a public lecture to draw the link between tax and the Constitution as her office pushes to balance SARS powers and a just recourse in dealing with taxpayers' complaints. Those in attendance wanted to see the country's tax collection system transformed and an easy access to dispute resolutions when dealing with SARS disputes.
It's important that we put more emphasis on the rights, because the very same rights that we have, which majority of our citizens or people that live within South Africa cannot have access to, such as a right to education, for instance. As an NSFAS beneficiary, I understand that for me to be able to have access to education, someone has to pay for my education, being in terms of direct taxes, income taxes, and all of that.
We have rights that we ourselves are not aware of, and I really liked the suggestion that there should be more outreach to make people aware of the fact that the Tax Ombud's office is available and it's there solely for the help of taxpayers.
Everyone pays tax, and I love what they suggested about like working together with law clinics and enacting billboards around the country, trying to have every office around the country belonging to SARS to have some information about the Tax Ombud's office.
Academics in the space say tax law is clear on taxpayers' rights, which SARS must respect. They've lauded the Office of the Tax Ombud for elevating taxpayers' rights.
We're very happy that she's a woman who is appointed as a tax ombudsman, but also most importantly that during their 10 years of tenure, they're celebrating it at the University of Johannesburg, and they're talking about taxpayers' rights, because this is one of the new initiatives actually in tax law, that taxpayers must be made aware that they've got rights, that those rights that are in the Constitution have now been elevated in that particular compendium that they have done.
The office was also at pains to assure the public of its independence and fairness when dealing with SARS. The Tax Ombud also encouraging taxpayers who require assistance with tax matters to visit the website and Office of the Tax Ombud for services free of charge, as the office works at strengthening taxpayers' trust and confidence in the country's tax administration. Katlego Logodi, SABC News, Johannesburg.